What's going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another episode of Super Retro Geek. Today, we are going to be reviewing an awesome app, one that I think a lot of people are familiar with, and that is Nova Launcher. And specifically, I'm going to be talking about Nova Launcher Prime. And for people who don't know what Nova Launcher is, well, Android, one of the beauties of Android is that if you don't like the way it looks or it functions, Android allows you to change it. Of course, you're going to have to do some work to do that. But for people who aren't familiar, who are not techies or into technology, you can actually change the way your system looks. And you could do this either by just moving stuff around or adding different widgets. And I think for most people who use Android, they're familiar with that. But what they're not familiar with is that you could actually do extensive changes, all the way down to how your font looks like. And so that's a little extreme. But Nova Launcher is the most popular replacement launcher out there, and it's my favorite. And this right here, this is the stock launcher that came with the tablet. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just very simple. It looks pretty much like stock Android, at least stock for this version. I think this is Android 4.3, I think. Let me make sure. Yeah, this is Android 4.2. So nothing wrong with it. It's just that there's not a lot of, I don't know, it's kind of boring. And also I can't, for most default Android launchers, or even in stock Android, which is pure Android, they always have this Google search on the top, or in this case, in the tablets on the left. So you can't, you can't get rid of that. Okay. So this is how the regular launcher that came with this tablet looks like. Okay. So now I'm going to show you how this looks during Nova Launcher, and apps and widgets. Um, just very plain, very simple. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay. Now we're going to go to Nova Launcher. And let me set this as my default real quick. Oh, nope, right there. And immediately you could see a little difference. The first thing is, if you look on the right, the icons, even though they look the same, the app tray in the middle looks different. Okay, and then when you press your apps, you notice our background is not completely black. Because in Nova Launcher you could actually change what's in the background, and specifically the transparency that you put on there. So that's a cool feature. And another cool feature is that you could change the way when you scroll, the effect that it has, and I'll go into that a little more. But this is what I like about Nova Launcher. It's fully customizable, meaning you could change so many things with this, and some things that are very simple, like for example, if I add a widget with Nova Launcher, I can actually resize the widget, which you cannot do with this most of the stock launchers. Okay, so see, you could actually resize it. In some cases it doesn't really do much, but in some cases, like maybe like an email widget, or um, it makes a big difference. So let me show you one where it does make a difference. Okay, so if I remove this and I add a widget here, let me see, there's this big composite widget that I'll try to add. So oops. Hmm. Okay, that was not good. Okay. Let's try that again. And at times, I don't know why, but sometimes it rarely happens, but it does crash. In that case, it crashed because I was probably trying to add this big fat widget. So okay, and so that one, that looks pretty bad. So, but the cool thing is you can resize it. So that is awesome. I mean, that's a simple thing, but it gives you flexibility. So you could put a lot more things in there. Another thing that I like, if you look at the bottom, you see there's a little line that tells you what screen you're at, which is cool. And the default one had it too, but you can't really change what colors it is or anything else. Okay, but with the Nova launcher, you could actually even change the how the screen works at the bottom. I mean, where it tells you what screen it is. And also, you could also add gestures, like I just did. I pinched in, and you could assign different actions for gestures. You could also add and remove the number of screens that you have. I think this default launcher that I had, it only had like it had 5 screens, and I don't need that many, because I like to keep my screens clean. So now let's dive into what all Nova Launcher offers. And so, just a FYI, Nova Launcher is free. Okay, so but I have the Prime version, and let me show you what the Prime version has. So what the Prime version gives you is it allows you to add gestures, unread counts for emails or messages if you get that, custom jar groups. You can hide your apps. You can have different icon swipes. Basically shortcuts for actions and scroll effects. Okay, and scroll effects with stuff like this. Now let's go ahead and go to the settings, and I'll show you what Nova Launcher offers. So they offer you just a few main categories, but within each category, there's many things that you can do. You could adjust the grid size, the margins, whether or not you want to persist in Google search bar, the number of home screens you want, and how you want to arrange them, and the different scroll effects. Let me show you one that it's easier for you to see. Let's try this revolving door. Okay, so if I go back, see, different effect. Does it really do anything to enhance experience? Not really, but it's cool that you can do that. I like to keep things simple, so most of the times, let me see, I like the card stack one, but I also like this one too. This is the cube effect. See, it's really cool. The cube effect. So it's like it acts as one cube. Okay. So they have gestures. You could change the way your folder background looks. The jar, the app jar. You could change the way that looks too. So there's a lot of things here. I don't want to go into all of them because it would probably take too much time. Here's the look and feel. You could change the icon size, and there's even change like the type of themes that you're using. For example, I'm using the actual KitKat theme, so the icons and some of the icons and stuff are actually from KitKat, like the phone dialer and so forth. So that's what that offers there in the look and feel. And then there's a lot more right there. And then here you can assign gestures and buttons, to whatever you like. So that's cool. So let me see, and you can even, if your version of Android supports it, this version doesn't, but you could also turn on this OK Google hotkey word. So if you say OK Google, then the Google voice search will come up. Okay. So here's the unread counts. The new apps, you could have it add shortcuts, kind of like when you go to the Play Store to automatically add a shortcut if you download a new app. Yeah, there's also backup and import settings right here too. Now, out of all these features, and there's more advanced features too. Actually, under each category, there's actually an advanced feature. But out of all of these, I don't really change too many things myself. I just particularly like the fact that I could resize widgets. I could change the way things looks. For example, I can even change, this is what I love, I could even edit the type of icons. And so here, you could choose KitKat icons, or you could even download different icon packs, which is really cool. So once again, customizing. And you could even change the name, and you could even add actions to the icon if you want, which is cool. So what I like about Nova Launcher, besides the fact that it's free for the regular version, I really don't think you need the Prime version unless you really want to do gestures and different transition effects. And also if you want to support the developer test core, which they do an amazing job. Just the Nova Launcher itself, it's easy to use. very powerful. It makes your device look a lot better. And probably the thing that I love most about it, besides those things I just mentioned, is that it's fast. Most replacement launchers, even the more popular ones, they actually introduce a little lag. And so, for most people who don't know, even Samsung's TouchWiz, which is their own proprietary launcher, it actually slows Android down even with very powerful hardware. So that's pretty much it for my review of Nova Launcher Prime. If you haven't got it, download it. This is, even if you're not really a techie, it's just so awesome to. This is one of the things that I love about Android. It gives you so much control over it, and to have an app like Nova Launcher Prime, which allows you to really take advantage of that, I wouldn't see why you wouldn't. So that's it for this episode. We'll see you on the next episode of Super Retro Geek. Thank you.